Hello again. This is lesson 4 of code.org. This is our last lesson for this week, so let's go ahead and get started with it. Let's pull up our instructions. Okay, so again, lesson 4 is going to be shapes and randomization. So far we've only been working with circles and rectangles. And this time we're going to start adding the width and the height so we can have more rectangles and actual ellipses. So you can see here, I have a diagram. So our rectangle block, we have been working with the X and the Y. X, horizontal, Y, vertical. W stands for the width, so that's how wide it is. So again, X is the horizontal, width is the wide, so it's going the same direction. Height is the H. How high again? Again, same direction as the Y. Okay. Part 1, read the overview. That's the same thing. We've got some new code down here. Make sure you pay attention to that. Background color, ellipse. We've done that before, but we're adding the white and the height. Same thing with the rectangle, adding the width and the height. And then we're going to have our random number as well. Okay, let's continue along. Okay, part 2, now that you're familiar with location, we are now going to start changing the size of shapes. Make the red rectangle longer than the blue one. So again, I'm just restating the instructions that are on here. So these rectangle blocks have 2 more parameters than you can use to control the size. Notice that the no stroke block turns off the stroke border for the shape. So that's why we do not see a black line around these shapes. So do this. Look at the code and try to figure out how the last 2 inputs in rectangle work. Change the number in the second rectangle, so the second one, to make red rectangle longer than the blue one. So run. So right now we see that the blue rectangle is longer than the red one, okay? So again, we have, if we're doing height, that's going to be this last box here. Again, X, Y, width, height. So that's the only number I need to worry about. And we need to worry about it here. So if this one is at 200, we need this one to be longer than 200. So change it so that they are both become the same, or so that the red one becomes longer than your blue one. Once you have that, go ahead and continue. Again, I'm not going to be giving the answers of all these. I still want you guys to be doing some thinking on your own. All right, write code that makes an orange ellipse behind the green one. Don't worry about the exact size as long as the green ellipse is entirely inside the orange one. So again, we have run. There is our green ellipse. And we need an orange ellipse. So change our yellow to orange. And then we're going to draw an ellipse. And you can see it starts at 0.200, 200. So again, ellipses are the center because those are the circle forms. So that should be right in the middle. So the location should be good. And now if I reset and I run, what happened to the green one? Again, order matters. The orange one has to be below the green one. Therefore, it has to be above. And run. Now, if you want to try and make it so it looks similar to the picture, that's fine. Okay, let's double check our instructions. So again, we don't really have any questions until part 6. So I'm not going to continue to come back in here because these are just restating the instructions that are already given here. So if you're happy, go ahead and move on. Okay, part 4. Sometimes you'll want to fill the entire screen with a color. For that, you can use the backgrounds. We're now adding a new block of code. It covers everything on the screen with the color you choose. So do this, run the code to see your background work. Change the background from yellow to orange. Okay, so background yellow again. Change it to orange. And we've got that one. Challenge, there is a purple square that is covered up by the background. I do suggest you do the challenges because this is something that will help you out later on. Can you change the order of the code so that you can see both the purple and the blue square? So again, dealing with order, you always want your background to be all the way on the bottom of all the shapes. In other words, but in your code, it has to be drawn first. So if you move that background all the way to the top, we should now see the purple square. And continue. Part 5, background will draw on top of everything already in your drawing. And we just talked about that with the last one. So it's important to think about the order of your code. Use background to make a black background behind the green circle. So again, if I just insert a black background, it's going to be on top of everything else. So again, get in the habit. Background is always first. Reset, there's the green one. So a couple of these I'm giving you the answers to. A couple of them I'm making you think. Okay, number 6, we did have a question for this one. Debug the program to make the grass go all the way across the area. So which parameter number in the block makes the rectangle wider? So thinking about here, we're dealing with a rectangle. Let's go ahead and run and see what we have. So debug this program and correct the error so that the grass extends across the entire bottom. So right now we see our green rectangle. So let's find our green rectangle. Here it is. Okay. So in our hint, you only have to change one number. Which parameter makes your rectangle, the grass, wider? Well, let's look over here. Rectangle, X, horizontal, Y, vertical, W, width, wide, H is height. So which one do we think it's going to be? It's going to be the W. So we want it to go all the way across. So if I change that number to go all the way across, so I will let you do that, okay? So get your grass to go all the way across and make sure you answer the question about which parameter, which number did you change to get the grass to work. Okay, and continue. I think I had the wrong one highlighted. I had the height, not the width. Okay, now that your grass is working, let's add a cloud to the sky. So here's our draw cloud. Unfortunately, it looks a little funny right now. So let's see how does it fix. Okay, we don't typically draw clouds going up and down. So debug, again, you're just making changes this program to make the cloud wider than it is tall, like in the image. Hint, you'll need to change 2 parameters. Which one set your cloud's width and height? Again, X, oh, so we're on ellipse now, elect, X, Y, width, height. So what I would recommend is just flip-flopping these 2 numbers. Okay, again, this is assessment 1, so I want to see what you can do with it. Just double checking here that we don't have any other parts. Again, if you want to go through, double check. Again, I'm just kind of restating what is going on in each of the problems. So we don't have any more questions to answer there. So finish. Once you get your cloud fixed. Okay. All right, so more shapes and parameters. Some blocks in Game Labs have inputs or parameters that aren't used every time. Okay, they're kind of hidden. So I'll let you read through that and we will continue. There it is. All right, random numbers. Choose a random number between a minimum and maximum value. You can use this code instead of writing in the specific number. If you make your drawings with random numbers, it will look a little bit different every time. Run your program. Okay, and then do this. Run this program several times to see how it works. So you can see in the code we have this random number in which parameter? The X parameter. So every time we run it, our circle should be somewhere different, slightly in the horizontal. So it's from 0 to 400, so it could be anywhere on that line. And again, I'm pointing at the screen that you can't see me pointing at, okay? So change the numbers inside the random number and run the code a few times to see what changes. So if I maybe change, so the 0 is the smallest number where it can show up, and the 400 is the biggest number. So if I were to change the 400 to maybe 200, it should only be showing up on the left side of the display area. Okay, if I were to flip-flop it, between 200 and 400, it's going to be on the right side. Okay, so that was just kind of trying to see how this random thing works. Okay, and we will be using random number from here on out. So make sure you're becoming familiar with it. Okay, part 10. Here's the same sun from the last time. Right now, only the X coordinate is random, but you can make the Y coordinate random too. So use the random number for the ellipse's Y parameter so the circle is drawn in a random Y position too. Okay, so use the random number. So let's find that first. So you can notice it is orange. So we now have a new section in our toolbox. It is orange, that is for our math, and that is where we will find our random number. So for the ellipsis y parameter, so we need to put this into that y parameter. So again, the first one is x, second one is y. As long as your circle is appearing at random x and y positions, you can move on. Now, going from 1 to 10 is very small. It's going to be hard to see. So I would just make it something bigger. If you want it to go over the whole, anywhere on the screen, you'll do the same numbers anywhere from 0 to 400, because 0 is the smallest number we can see on the screen and 400 is the largest on the grid. So just kind of see where it can get. So make sure you're adding a random number to your y parameter. Okay. All right, purple check mark. So this one is another assessment. So I'm just going to kind of review the instructions and I'll let you try it on your own. So this program draws a very rare breed of rainbow snake. To make the snake draw differently every time, you'll need to use random numbers. So you can see in our code already, you have random numbers and we're only doing it in the Y. So run the program several times to see how the starter code works. So run. So we have right now a red, an orange, and a yellow. And you can see each time they're independently going to their own spots. Again, they're not moving horizontally. They're just going up and down a little bit. Okay, so add at least 3 new different colored circles to your rainbow snake. So just like each one of these is a different colored circle. So you're going to have to add a fill and an ellipse. And then use a random number to make the rest of the snake's body move up and down like the first 3. Okay, so use what's already here. Okay, so we can see what's going on with our x parameters. We have 100, 140, 180. What's the pattern? What's the next one going to be? What's the one after that going to be? Okay, and then we have a random number for the y parameter. This one's 190, 210, 190, 210, 190, 210. What are the other 3 going to be? Same thing for your widths, 50, 50, 50. What about your heights? 50, 50, 50. Okay, think about that as you go. Now, if you want to challenge yourself, can you make the sizes of some of the circles random too? So that's something you can add as well. So again, this is an assessment, so I'm going to let you guys do the rest on your own. So hopefully I gave you enough information to help you out. Okay, and then our last one again is just kind of a review of what we've done. So make sure you're understanding how this random number works. Again, we're going to be using it a lot from here on out. So right now we've done backgrounds, we've done fills, we've done rectangles, we've done ellipses, we've done position, we've done sizes, and then we've also now can do this randomization. So make sure you're feeling comfortable with any of those. Before we go, I'm going to go back to code.org, and if you ever want to try any of these, just trying your own designs. If you go back to your main page, your dashboard, you scroll down and you can see there should be a game lab. So this is the same tools that we're using now. It just has all the tools. So a lot of these, most of these we haven't gotten to. You can see there are sections that we haven't even touched yet. We've only been working on the drawing, and then the random number is in the math down there, okay? So if you want to try and draw your own designs, you can play around with here too. It can be kind of fun to see what you can do with it. So that ends our lesson 4. So hopefully now you have completed all 4 lessons. You have answered all of the red ones or inserted your screenshots here. So make sure that this document is turned into Canvas. And then that will also, when this is turned in, I can also know I can go and look at your code.org lessons to check those assessments as well. There is a rubric on Canvas of how I'm going to be grading this week. I'm going to try and get this all done by Tuesday, and my goal is to grade them Tuesday so you can have some feedback and have some time to fix it before we start on our next lessons. It's so important to get our lessons done in order because they're just going to keep building on top of each other. And if you're struggling with one part, make sure you're getting it understanding. So be at that Zoom Monday meeting Monday morning or around noon, and I can help answer your questions there. If you need a different time, let me know. We can schedule something else out, or we can also, if you just email me as well, I can get back to you a little bit sooner. All right, take care, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.